Howdy folks, I'm Hazy Hydrogen, hypnotically hoodwinking harmless harmonicas.
I'm Amber.
And here are more harmless harmonicas for us to hoodwink. We are terrible people.
You are a terrible Adam.
I'm a very terrible Adam, I guess so. Alright folks, and we're getting close to 1,000 subscribers or 1,000 episodes or both. And I'm not sure which one it'll reach first. Let me know if you have any ideas for what we can do for either of those milestones. I have some ideas, but I'd be curious to hear if you have any ideas. Let's get started. Alright folks, our first letter is titled, Am I the Jerk for Not Giving My Son a Break on Rent? My son is 18, and his girlfriend Elizabeth, 18, lives in an apartment above my garage. I charge them $1,200 per month in rent plus utilities. They're responsible for their own food, internet, etc. This apartment could easily go for at least $1,800, so I would say that I'm giving them a good deal. They both worked until recently, and Elizabeth received some money from the government because her dad died in active duty. They both own pretty decent used cars too. My son has a 2014 Accord, and Elizabeth has a 2012 Civic, and they insure them themselves. Elizabeth was recently in an accident. She spent around 6 weeks in the hospital and can't work. The man that hit her was uninsured, so they're in the process of suing him for medical costs, lost wages, and whatever else they can get, but right now they don't have anything. My son came over last week and asked for a break in rent. Apparently her insurance didn't cover everything, so they're dealing with around $6,000 in medical bills, and Elizabeth not working over the past 2 months has cost them another $5,000. They have resorted to using food banks and have been applying for emergency assistance through their schools. They're both full-time students, and my son even asked my ex, his former stepdad, for a loan. Elizabeth has not spoken to her family since she was 16, so it's very unlikely that they will help her even though she's the one in this mess. My ex called to yell at me for refusing to give them a break in rent or help them out during this time. I told him that I already was giving them at least $600 a month in reduced rent, and my son is not his child, so it's none of his business. He called me heartless and is paying the rent until the lawsuit is settled. He has been posting on social media about what I've been doing and will not leave me alone about this. He also said that he will be taking me to court to reduce my child support. We have 3 kids together. He lives an hour away, and I'm in a better school district. So I have primary custody, and he pays child support because I have an extra $1,200 per month in income and 1 less child support since he started paying child support. Alright folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Oh my goodness, yes, OP. Do you even love your son or do you just see him as a revenue source?
Print that money! Bow!
Like, I mean, this kid is barely a legal adult and you're charging him $1,200 a month in rent.
Him and his girlfriend who was in a severe accident and they're behind in bills. They're behind. Even a landlord might give them a break.
Like, a good landlord would give them a break. Like, this is evil landlord territory. But to top it off, you're his actual parent who's doing this to him. And
not to mention, like, if your ex, who's not his real dad, is stepping in and actually helping him out, that tells you something about your position here.
Right. I mean, it sounds like the ex is a more compassionate parent than you are. I understand that you're losing your possible rental revenue or whatever, but why are you so concerned with getting this money out of him?
Yeah, that's really what I want to know. It seems like the moment that your son moved out, turned 18 rather, you started charging him rent and being like, yep, you'll pay rent now. And his girlfriend too. And it sounds like she's in a bad position, both family-wise and now health-wise. And you just don't seem to have any compassion towards this individual or your son. So I really think that's unfortunate. And I think you should take some time to reflect on your priorities about what's important to you. Is family important to you or is money important to you? Because if you set the line right now that money is important to you, then that's really what your relationship with your son is going to boil down to.
Yeah, and in the future, like, who is he going to have a better relationship with, you or his stepdad? I have a feeling it's not going to be you.
Yeah.
It's going to be the person who helped him in his time of need.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And CyberGhost05 says, "You're the jerk. You don't even give me a reason why you don't give them a break on rent. As it is, I think that you are overcharging your son, who seems to be on the right path in life. The very least you can do is help him out in his time of need." And My Lady Bit says, $1,200 in many places is cheap rent.
Not when you're renting from your parents.
And Legitimate Day 4757 says, "For a room over a garage?" And OP replies, "It's not a room, a full 1-bath, 1-bedroom apartment."
Ooh, fancy.
And Really Seriously 999 says, "Again, I had a 3-bedroom garden apartment in Illinois for $300 less than you are charging your son." And OP replies, "Okay, my dad had a 2-bedroom apartment in downtown Houston for $100 a month. I don't know what that has to do with the rates in my own town right now." And I mean, I think that's fair. The amount of rent from place to place is going to be very different.
But, I mean, I think OP is only seeing dollar signs. Like we are seeing here, OP's only concern with all of this is, I'm getting my fair share.
Oh, yeah, I'm not justifying what OP's saying. I'm just saying that I think it's kind of futile to compare rents when we don't even know where OP lives.
Well, yeah, I just meant, like, I think this exercise just kind of helps demonstrate that OP is just a money grabber.
And Elizabeth Janet says, "You're the jerk. You are so desperate for the almighty dollar that you charge your son market rent. Market rent. Great parenting." And OP replies, "He doesn't pay market rent." Alright folks, our next letter is titled, "Am I the jerk for having my daughter do guy chores and telling my wife to stop babying her? I am married to my wife and have 4 stepkids. We have been together for so long that I consider them mine, and I'm really the only father figure they know. Bio dad is not involved at all, and they call me their dad. Now the oldest one is 15 and the youngest is 8. The 2 oldest are guys, and I taught both of them the stereotypical guy chores, fixing cars, cutting grass, etc. I started both of them when they were about 10. My daughter, Annie, just turned 11. When she did turn 10, I started teaching her more hands-on type stuff since she was small. She is bigger now and stronger, so we had our first lesson on cutting the grass and how a lawnmower works. She did really well, a little worried she would lose control of the mower since she is still short, but my fears were unfounded. She did the whole yard, and I'm quite proud of her. My wife had a fit though. She got into an argument about teaching her guy chores, that she is too young. The other 2 kids started before she was that age. I told her that she needs to stop babying her and that she needs to know how stuff works. She called me a jerk and left. Am I the jerk? Also, yes, guys can do household chores. Alright folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. I don't think there's anything wrong with teaching people of all genders how to do various types of household chores. In fact, I think it's important not to have double standards. Like, yeah, it's one thing if the kid is smaller and not physically capable of doing certain chores, totally makes sense to delay it. But once they're at a stage in life where they're capable of doing the chores, it makes sense to teach them all these various life skills.
Yeah. I would say the only way this would be unfair is if your daughter was already doing like all the feminine chores.
Right.
And then suddenly you're like, oh, you should also do all these additional chores too.
Yeah, exactly. Like as long as it's an equal distribution of labor, they're all doing all the types of chores, and not daughter getting saddled with all of them because she's a girl.
Yeah. That would be the case where I would think that OP would be in the wrong.
Yes, yeah.
But I think that it doesn't sound like that's the case because OP's like, oh, guys can do household chores. So I'm assuming and I'm hoping, fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed it's an equitable distribution of labor and her brothers are pulling their weight too.
Yeah. So, yeah. In that case, I don't think OP's the jerk. I think the mom has dated views. I think that she needs to get with the PIC program here because this attitude just isn't a good attitude. She's capable of doing these chores.
Yeah, well, and it's not helpful to anyone to presuppose everything on the assumption that they're going to someday have a partner of the opposite gender they're married to who's going to do all this other stuff for them, because for a lot of people, that's not how life works.
Yeah. To make sure that she isn't set up for failure, I think it's a good idea to make sure she has a wide variety of skills so that she doesn't have to rely on another person, especially since she's probably not going to rush out and get married the moment she leaves home, right?
Right.
She's going to need to know how to do certain things when she gets out into the world, and it's a good idea to teach her those skills now.
Yeah, and it's mighty bold to assume that anyone of any gender will have these, a certain set of skills.
Yeah, so let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Ixian says, I wish my father had taught me guy chores, not the jerk. Not having to depend on a man to do basic household stuff is a godsend. And Infinimouth 047 says, you're totally right, and when she's a bit older, do basic car maintenance with her. And OP replies, she actually started doing that when she was 10. Nothing ridiculous, but her being small sure helped getting a look under the car. She was a great help when we had a rattle. Bolts got knocked out. And 000 Hataru Tome says, chores are chores. There aren't guy chores or gal chores. Every skill is important in life, not the jerk. And the voice of reason-ish says, the boys should be learning to cook and clean too. And OP replies, they know how to. Alright folks, and our last letter is titled, Am I the jerk for telling my sister that my chickens aren't leaving? I'm a 28-year-old female, and I'm living in the suburbs where we're allowed a small number of backyard chickens. I adopted this hobby around 2 years ago, and since then, I've been raising a lively flock of 6. They're delightful, quirky, and they supply fresh eggs that I either sell to neighbors or use in my cooking. My sister, a 32-year-old female, lives across town and recently went through a divorce. Since then, she's been bringing my niece, a 3-year-old female, over to my place more often as I help her out by babysitting. My niece has taken quite a liking to the chickens. She enjoys feeding them and watching them and potter about the yard. It's turned into a unique way for us to bond. However, the predicament here involves my sister. She has developed an irrational fear of avian flu. She believes that my chickens are a health risk, causing her anxiety. She worries that her daughter might contract the disease from them. Despite my attempts to assure her that the chickens are vaccinated and well cared for and pose no risk, her fears persist. She has been pressuring me to dispose of my chickens, arguing that it's for the safety of her child. Her logic revolves around the idea that my niece could catch the flu from them. I have suggested precautions such as ensuring that my niece washes her hand after playing with the chickens, but this doesn't assuage her concerns. While I deeply care for my sister and want my home to be a comfortable space for her and my niece, I feel that it's unjust for her to try to dictate my choice of pets. After several months of back and forth on this, I finally lost my patience and I told her that my chickens are here to stay. They are an integral part of my life. If you can't handle that, then you're not obligated to visit. This has led to her refusing to bring my niece over. Even my parents have stepped in, accusing me of prioritizing my chickens over family. I don't wish to damage my family relationships, but I can't agree with my sister's attempt to force me to abandon the pets that I love and maintain responsibility over. So Reddit, am I the jerk for firmly stating that my chickens aren't leaving? Alright folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. Your chickens are your pets. They're part of your family, and you don't just give away family members. Now, your sister's not the jerk for having a phobia, but where she's the jerk is trying to get you to get rid of something that's important to you to accommodate her.
Yeah.
Your sister might do well to have some therapy because statistically, your daughter's more likely to, or her daughter's more likely to get sick playing with other kids than playing with the chickens. And so it might help for her to talk to a therapist who specializes in phobias to kind of, or general anxiety issues to kind of talk her through that and help her work on it.
Yeah, or if there was a professional she could talk to that could assure her that this isn't a unsafe activity. The thing is that your chickens are vaccinated, so the odds of them contracting avian flu to begin with aren't very high. And it sounds like you keep them well taken care of and well maintained, and that goes a long way towards keeping them healthy and not sick. And while there might be a very small risk of avian flu being spread to the niece, I would say that it's probably very minimal given the circumstances around your chickens.
Yeah, and I mean, again, her daughter can more easily contract all kinds of flus and other viruses from playing with children and other people.
Yeah. So, I mean, I honestly can't say that I know the risk 100%, but it sounds like OP has done their research. It sounds like they know what they're talking about, and I don't think that they would put the life of their niece on the line, though, you know, we've read enough of these stories that's not always the case, but in this particular case it doesn't seem like it. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Incartrus says, reply to your parents. It's not that I'm choosing my chickens over family, it's that my sister is choosing her irrational fears over our family. They still are welcome here. The only problem is in her head. And Introverted Bookman says, excellent point. OP hasn't banned the sister or the niece from visiting. The sister is getting angry about compliance with a rule that she came up with all by herself.
There are valid things to those, but I also worry about the kind of the stigmatizing tone and the dismissal of mental health as like all in your head, because that's very much not a helpful thing to say to someone who is dealing with anxiety or phobia.
And Evil Grebo says, not the jerk. Tell your sister to talk to a qualified medical professional if she doesn't believe you about vaccinated chickens not being a danger to pass on the flu. And by qualified medical professional, emphasize to your sister that means a veterinarian or a doctor, not some YouTube person. And Naran Gim says, and especially not Dr. Google. Background Cat says, not the jerk. Sounds like the fear of bird flu is your sister's way of rejecting divorce-related stress because it's something concrete that she can, in theory, control and destroy. You are not putting your chickens over her kid. You are just expecting more rational approach to problems. And it might be something like that. It could very well be.
But again, that's something that would be best dealt with in counseling and not just demonizing the sister entirely. Like, it's fine to tell her that this is not a reasonable point of view and you're not going to get rid of your chickens, but don't demonize her for if this is a legitimate mental health struggle.
Exactly. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here. And Amber, she's got a joke.
Why did the lettuce win the race?
Well, I'll tell you exactly why the lettuce won the race. It's because it's a well-known fact that lettuce is a cheater. And they'll do everything in their power to make sure that they win. Because they're dirty, rotten, cheating lettuce.
Because it was a head.
Because it was a head. It was a head because it was cheating.
I knew you were going to go there.
And I have Earl Grey.
And just to clarify, yesterday, in case people were confused, I have long since finished the book I was reading before, the one where I was guessing the ending, Dead of Winter by Darcy Coates. I'm now reading Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. That's the book I was cringing internally over, so...
All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy, spectacular, special Sunday. I hope you're all doing amazingly on this Sunday. I hope that you had a great beverage of choice, and I hope that your end of the weekend is going all right. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it in the form of an advertisement for a slumlord.
I think we're going to have to go with an anti-moral, like, if that's the case. For rent, 1 bed, 1 bath apartment over the garage, $1,800. Because my lousy kid and his poor injured girlfriend couldn't pony up the $1,200, and I got sick of taking money from my ex, who was kind enough to support them during this trying time. So, yeah, now I'm renting it because that's probably Opie's next step.
It might be. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you all tomorrow.
Bye!